Hey guys, Patrick here with the Alphas and Outliers podcast. So why did I choose Rocky Leiner and Makoa Beck to do an episode with? Well, all three of us share a love of a lot of the same things. Cars, luxury watches, and MMA. So here we are, three guys. What could go wrong? We had a lot of fun on that episode, so check it out. So what was the pivotal moment that changed, like put you here, put you on the, what made you say, yeah, I want to own a gym?
Well, I think, there's so many different areas where it kind of like pushed and shoved me into, this line of direction. Like for me, I guess it kind of started in like the beginning of my upbringing. I had a pretty rocky relationship, no pun intended, rocky, but pretty
I was going to imitate somebody. But not who you were thinking. I wasn't going to do this solo imitation.
Oh no, why not?
Going to do Bullwinkle.
He's close by.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could either get offended or he'll come around and really enjoy it. No, yeah, I had a pretty rough relationship dynamic with my mom and with my real father and that kind of thing. And so like I think because of part of that, it caused me to kind of look around at things when I was young and kind of think that something's not really right here. And then tying that into like obviously starting to go into boyhood, you're a teenager and that kind of whole thing. And I had issues with getting bullied and picked on. Like I was always a very small kid. Like you, I played football as well. So, like I think I started when I was 7 or 8 years old, played for about 6-7 years. But for the first 3 or 4 seasons of playing, I didn't make weight unless I was wearing football pads. So like I had to have all of my pads to be able to make weight to play, right? And so I was always known as like being super small, super skinny, had a great appetite. I could eat, everything in the cabinets, but I just didn't gain weight. And yeah, I'm sure it does. But that being said, I always felt like I wasn't really good enough, I guess. And so then that caused me like, probably when I was about 12 years old. It's funny, what I used to do is I would put a strap on my rollerblades. I would put on these big over-ear Sony headphones and plug it into to my phone. And I would just go and listen to like YouTube videos or at the time, like SoundCloud was kind of just coming out. And so I'd listen to like motivational podcasts, or I would listen to, YouTube videos of like just motivation, inspirational videos. And I came across these guys called Bar Brothers. And I saw, and mind you, my stepdad always worked out, all through me growing up. But when I saw them and saw where they were 2 years before, kind of just skinny or overweight, and then where they were 2 years later, and just their transformation. These guys looked like Roman, gladiators. Like they just were so incredibly in shape, and all they did was push-ups and pull-ups. And so I was like, huh. Okay. And like from that, something clicked and I started working out just because I wanted to better myself and my body, mind, and spirit. And that's literally all I did for the first 2 or 3 years of me working out, was just pull-ups out in the tree, out in my front yard. I'd go run to the park about a mile and a half down the road, do as many push-ups as I could, and just really got that bug and noticed that I just felt so much better. I became so much more positive. I don't know if it helped my height, but I did start to grow a little taller then. And so like just really started building. Yeah, I could have hung, upside down and then stretched my spine out and elongated myself a little bit more. But yeah, so then I started to kind of build my first real confidence in who I was around that time. And, and then I couldn't play football in middle school or high school because both my middle school and high schools didn't have football team, didn't have a baseball team, lacrosse team, or wrestling team. So I got forced into, well, I almost like forced.
You were at School of the Arts.
Yeah, School of the Arts and Sciences. And so for me, I was like, I need something, apart from my push-ups and pull-ups. I want to do some kind of athletics because I loved the teamwork aspect of things. And so then I fell in love with doing track. And then my second year in, I kind of co-captained with somebody. And then my junior and my senior year, was the captain of the team. And I think that was kind of going along with starting to do a little bit of work in the gym as well, kind of just became my knack of, coaching people just in the group, and not only going through with them, but having to be the person that can give them that extra little push while I'm, going through the suck as well.
Right.
And that just segued into, me building a lot more clientele in the gym once I graduated. And then, like I said, it was just smooth sailing since. I, took the opportunity, took over, got all the licensing stuff for the LLC for the business together, and just kind of haven't really looked back since.
Nice.
But yeah, I would definitely say just with the upbringing and the I guess the lack thereof that I felt within myself is really what propelled me into wanting to better not only myself for myself, but for everybody else, because of the impact that I could provide from there.
Right. You mentioned it. So you're kind of a specialized gym. It's not just a 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness or anything like that. It's more of a private.
Exactly. So the base and the selling point for my facility is it's basically a private club atmosphere. So we have a limited membership base. So we're only looking ideally for around 300 members. Once we kind of hit that goal or that, cap, we're capping it off. So, not anybody, not some Joe Schmo can just walk in after we've already hit that limit. That being said, it allows for a little bit more of a private fitness atmosphere for everybody.
Sure.
But it also allows for everybody to be able to come in and be part of a unique atmosphere, because you're going to kind of see some of the same people in and around there, which is also going to be a nice little personal space for people to meet and get a workout in, but at the privacy of your own facility. Because if you go to an LA Fitness, you go to a UFit, you're going to be elbowing people for equipment. While at our facility, 80 to 90% of the time, you'll be in there either by yourself or with maybe 3 or 4 different people in there. And so that allows us to not only be able to blend a private fitness, personal training aspect to it, but also, again, have that private club that people can pay a little bit more than what they would be paying at LA Fitness, but not something where it's like a Lifetime Fitness. Basically anything health and wellness related, whether it's a nutritionist, whether it's stretch therapy, posture mobility, personal training services, sports and athletics, we can provide either in facility or in your own home. So we have services that we send out, trainers and again, mobility specialists or massage therapists that go to people's homes. So that kind of also is part of the umbrella of the gym itself.
Right.
So
I think I remember, I know you and I had a conversation about it. You wrestled, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you wrestled in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said at some point you transitioned over to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, correct?
Yeah, you have to. You're a wrestler,
Right.
and you're not going to the Olympics, and you're not doing college. There's nothing. I've wanted to always start like a fat guys wrestling gym or something, just for the guys that aren't competing at such a high level, but miss it. There's nowhere like that. So a lot of wrestlers, once it ends, you miss it so much. So the closest thing is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
absolutely.
It's 2 completely different sports, but they tie in together.
Right.
And I'm still doing it. It's a lot of habits you got to break, because in wrestling, where you lose when you get pinned with your back on the wall.
Right.
But in jiu-jitsu, that's a dominant position, is laying down on your back.
Exactly.
And my coaches taught me to not even sleep on my back when I was in high school. So it's a lot of habits and unfamiliar territory for
Absolutely.
me when I'm doing jiu-jitsu. And I don't know if you noticed, but I've been to your gym.
I don't believe I have noticed.
Yeah. I've been there one time, maybe about a year ago.
Okay.
I was working out with a personal trainer, Coach Will.
Yes.
And if you are in Palm Beach, you've seen or know Coach
100%.
Palm Beach. Happiest guy in the world.
Absolutely.
And
I think I've even met him.
you've probably
Probably.
seen him. He looks like Joe
He's
Rogan
always got, like a tan Joe Rogan, like a tanner Joe Rogan.
with a huge smile. He brought me over to your gym.
Sweet.
And something that really stood out to me, a few things really stood out to me about your gym. And the first one is that it's in the, what do they call it, the
Darth Vader building. Yeah. Yeah.
He told me to meet him there. I'm like, what are we doing? A mafia deal? What is this? So we go into the Darth Vader building. We walked in. I remember there was surfboards
Yep.
on the walls. And I was like, this is a completely different vibe from any other gym I've ever been in. You had the smoothie bar and weed painted on the wall. Something very like Hawaiian. And I walked into the gym, and there was like a bunch of like surfers in there. Like long hair.
Or slick back.
hanging out in there. And I'm like, this is like a very relaxed but private, like
100%.
Oh, wow. Like, it was so unsuspecting, but I really liked that the vibe was very different. There's so many gyms you walk into and you're like, all right, same thing over and over again. And it's so important in business to be able to stand out and be memorable.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the...
I had to go check a gym out.
I've been telling you for a while, man.
I've never been there. I don't know why I haven't, because I'm always downtown. So I don't know why.
Yeah, we're a half mile from Clematis, literally half mile.
Yeah, we need to make that happen.
Absolutely.
Sooner than later.
Yeah, exactly, for Patrick.
Get over here. I know, because I know it'll happen. I'm gonna end up joining.
Oh, probably. Probably.
The only problem is I'm moving
A little far west.
going a little bit up north. So, so you got into BJJ also, or what?
So yeah, I mean, it's funny because growing up, I was always into like superheroes. Forget about football, forget about basketball, baseball, anything. It was always like watching the UFC fights.
It's crazy.
And so like every Saturday, every other Saturday, we're getting the UFC, 15, whatever it was at that time.
Who's your favorite?
So I grew up in the era with the hardcore Tito and Liddell, Fury, and Couture and all those guys. And for me, the one that I fell in love with, because like I loved them all and I loved watching their rivalries, but I think GSP was my top, just because of like the level of humility that he carried and the respect that he demanded,
right?
And the amount of the amount of like, if he got his ass whooped, he made sure he worked on his weak points, and he came back and dominated the next fight. Exactly. And it was like GSP really was my first, like, this guy is my absolute favorite. I love everything he stands for.
Yeah.
And that carried over. And then even now, kind of, it's not really BJJ, but Khabib Nurmagomedov. I mean, he dominated the sport after taking
Monster.
Wrestling, and everybody, a lot of people that watch MMA think it's the most boring thing, but then you hear guys like Rogan talking about how technical it is, and then if you've experienced it, how you're on the ground and everything you're doing is squeezing and pulling and pushing, and how much energy is being exerted in that, it gives you a different level of understanding. And so to see somebody completely dominate in that level against even guys who were just complete black belts in BJJ was sweet. But that being said, so I always experienced it with watching it, and then I did it a lot more kind of growing up, just backyard BJJ kind of thing, and then a little bit of some training and coaching here and there, and I think it was definitely a lot more of a humbling experience for me to kind of like you think you're strong, but you go against somebody who's a little skinnier than you, and they're gonna kick your ass, and it's a fun experience, I think.
Did you get into MMA at all?
A little bit. I really wanted to, but I felt like at the point in my life where I was at when I started considering like having a fight, I was too old. I felt like it's a little too late. I don't really want to start diverting my focus from my career to pursue something that I think I'm just not right in the position for.
For sure. You don't want to get punched in the face multiple times.
No, I felt what's happening then?
That's the one thing about that sport. I mean, I, like you guys, I thoroughly enjoy watching it.
Yep.
It's something like watching a car crash or a train wreck. It's like this is bad.
Yep.
Right. These guys are they're getting the crap knocked out of them. It isn't even like boxing. And you look at boxers, and I always look at that sport and I say, because I grew up watching boxing. I also had a martial arts background from when I was very young, and multiple different styles of things, more traditional styles, mostly Kung Fu.
Yep.
And about 3 different styles of Kung Fu over, 25 years or 30 years. Didn't wrestle. I hated wrestling. The idea of, wrestling just did not appeal to me at all. They tried me.
Like I said, I'm not putting on tight
on the ring lid or any of that.
You have to be passionate about it, and I wasn't. I couldn't get it. And the coach all the football players, most of the football players, when this football season was over, they went into wrestling. Right? Not me. I took the season. I just said nope. I think I went out for baseball one year. That was boring, and I said no. I'll just do track because I can do my own thing, type of thing. But boxing was always in the culture. At that time, and that was part of the world. And so, I grew up with Muhammad Ali. I grew up with Joe Frazier. I grew up with George Foreman. All these guys that were the biggest of the big. And then, of course, when we get into the 80s and stuff, you get into, Sugar Ray Leonard and Tom, Hagler, Hearns, all those guys. And boxing, to me, that took some real skill. And it's funny because you watch a boxing match, you watch guys hitting each other, and you don't realize it hurts. Have you ever gotten slugged with boxing gloves? From a person with some
hands,
with bare knuckles. I've gotten torqued a few times. But I mean, boxing gloves, those 8-ounce gloves, those things hurt.
Yeah.
And if
there's not much cushion to them,
no, they're not. They don't feel like it at all. So I know what that feels like to get hit, and I know what it feels like to hit somebody. And then I know what these professionals, these guys who had a career, Ali, look at Ali, ended up with, what did he ended up with? Parkinson's.
Those are anything.
It's like a bunch of...
It's like you can kick them while they're down and knocked out. Like, you had 400 pounds versus like 150.
Exactly.
Like
guys like Butterbean.
Yep, exactly.
Like,
so
freak of nature versus, some little kid. But it's like, they're basically barehanded. They've got martial arts gloves on, which don't give you any protection. The person wearing them gets some protection. The guy getting hit with them, nothing. He's just getting. And the shots they take to the head, not just from hands, but elbows and knees, and kicks and everything. When you shake the brain, even one time really hard, it gets damaged.
Yeah.
It happens to you over time. We're not even far enough into these people's careers to see the permanent damage that's going to be done to them. I would imagine the guys like Couture and the old guard that brought that sport into what it is now. We're going to find out about them. Well, he's actually, what is he? He's got to be close to 50.
Who, Couture?
I'm thinking he's in his 50s now, isn't he?
He's got to be close to 60.
Is he? Yeah. So we're going to start seeing what happened.
Yep. Well, I think his last fight, he was 48 or something like that.
Yeah.
That had to have been at least 10 years ago.
That worries me about people that get into this sport, because I think they see it as, just like boxers when they got into boxing, they say, I have skills. I can go in and I can become a millionaire. Okay, that's why most people get into professional sports anyway. But that's a particularly brutal sport.
Absolutely.
It is. I have a very close friend of mine. He's a famous UFC fighter, and he's currently fighting. And 2 fights ago, he lost his fight, and he actually had a brain bleed. From being knocked out, and he had a brain hemorrhage, and they suspended him for 1 year from having a fight. And I went to his next fight, and I was on the edge of my seat, man. It was so nerve-wracking because, of course, the doctors give you clearance and everything, but just like
one more shot.
Yeah, he's fighting again next month.
Nice.
And I'm actually going out to Vegas to see him again, and it's something like I'm so confident in him. He's a savage, but it's just something in the back of your mind. You see him absorb a head kick, and he's fine. But it's just
one wrong.
Yeah, I'm pouring sweat watching this. Like it's different when he's your friend,
It's entertaining. Like I said, love watching it. But at the same time, every time I see somebody get really torqued, just to get really lit up, you just go, "Oh my God!"
You should just stop the fight.
Just stop already. I watched one guy. I was watching some videos on YouTube, and which I dearly love, but at the same time, it's like, oh God. And I've just seen some people just get busted up so bad. And like what's going on up here. That's it.
What you see,
there's only that much space in the cavity where your brain sits, right?
Exactly.
And all it takes is not much to make your brain hit the side of the skull, and that's it. It's what hit got damaged, and you lost something. So, what do you?
Well, I was just gonna ask if you ever saw any of the old school like Clay Guida fights or anything where just bloodied up, like loving it.
It's crazy. I can't believe you guys are being able to do this. It's like no, that's nuts. I couldn't do that.
Who's your favorite fighter today?
Honestly, I will say I have kind of taken a little bit more of a backseat. I don't watch it anywhere near as frequently. I do enjoy watching Sugar Sean. I loved watching Francis Ngannou. Obviously, he just had a boxing match now. And then, I think I really kind of got out of it a little bit more. I would say maybe about 6 or 8 months after Nurmagomedov retired. I kind of just didn't really watch it as much anymore.
Yeah.
Just because I felt like it was too much to keep up with, So yeah, I would say I kind of took a little bit more of a backseat approach to it. Do you have a favorite one that you?
It's a tough question for me. It's such a hard question.
Yeah.
Current is really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of friends in the UFC, and I'm really just a fan of them. But before I was close with them, I was really a fan of GSP.
Yep.
I do love GSP.
Absolutely.
I can't fire up a UFC video game without picking GSP.
Yeah.
But the homies, man, they are Gilbert Burns, Vicente Luque, and Gregory Rodriguez, aka RoboCop. These guys are such high quality people, and I'm supporting them 100%. Great dudes. And they're all customers of Rocky's Ultimate Garage, too.
Oh, right.
If you guys go on Instagram, I filmed some really funny videos with these guys.
Okay.
They come in here, and we have a series going with me with the UFC fighters where they bring their card to me, and I challenge them to, some jiu-jitsu in exchange for a discount.
Okay.
So they'll say, okay, wrap my card, and then I'll give them the invoice. They'll be like, what, no discount? And then we go over to my jiu-jitsu gym, and they're choking me out, putting me in arm bars and stuff. You guys have to check out the videos. They're hilarious.
Look at that.
That's awesome. All right, so we're all wearing wrist watches, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that everybody in this room is a kind of fan of watches.
A little bit.
We are.
A little bit.
I am. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm big in it.
Rocky, you told me a little bit. Why don't you share with Makoa what you own? What do you got on right there?
It's my favorite watch.
Yeah.
Favorite watch. It always will be. So this is a 1980 Submariner. And
The Mariner date.
Submariner date. Yep.
Yes.
And this watch was given to my dad in 1980 when he graduated high school in New Jersey. And my grandfather bought it in 1980 and gifted it to him. And it has it engraved on the back. It says, to Eric from Dad with the date. And he bought this watch for $900.
Wow.
And I don't even know what it's worth today, but it's worth a lot more than $900.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And,
complete set.
Yep.
same thing, right? And right after I graduated high school as well, my dad gave it to me, and we got it refurbished because he wore the crap out of this thing. It was a little chewed up. And this just has so much sentimental value to me. I have a couple other watches in my collection too, but if I'm looking at all of them, my instinct, I just grab this one almost every day and I put it on because
It's a great daily
It
watch.
is.
especially because my grandfather was a very serious businessman. My dad's a very calculated businessman. And I feel like when I'm wearing it, I'm kind of channeling both of their energy.
Right.
100%.
Through
I get
this
that.
watch.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm working.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that thing's sweet. Thing's definitely sweet.
And it's never right.
Yeah, I see. It says it's the 9th today.
I was sitting next to it. I don't know. I don't care. My uncle's sitting next to me. He's like, "What are you in Tokyo right now? What are you doing?" And I see something similar on.
I was gonna say you got something similar.
Yeah, I've got this is a vintage 1973 Submariner, no date. And it's funny because it's kind of beat up.
73.
Yeah, it's kind of beat up. It's and the markers are all patinaed and the hands and stuff and
Was it a 38 or
that's 40.
40?
Yep.
Oh yeah, the band a lot more loose.
There's a lot of character.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you look at it, it's all scratched.
Mhm.
Now the bezel's new, or not the bezel, but the crystal is new,
Okay.
and it's an OEM crystal. It's
Yep.
Rolex, and then it's new guts.
Full
When I say
overall
guts
on it.
for your crown,
Okay.
stem was broken. The mechanism in there, you can pull a stem out. So,
I see you got the right time, right? Yeah, right times on it.
So this watch actually, the reason I wore this is I'm showcasing this for a friend of mine who wants to sell it.
Okay.
So the story goes that he loaned a guy that he knew, a friend of his, some money.
Okay. Doesn't
And
sound
the guy couldn't pay him back. So what he did was he gave him the watch.
okay.
So My friend's been wearing this. He wore it in its not fixed condition.
Yep.
And then we got it fixed for him, and now he wants to sell it because he's going to get something else. So this one's for sale. So if somebody wants to buy it, we can talk about that.
Right.
And if any of the people at home want. So what do you wear?
Well, I got a Rolex. Mine's a little bit more new.
Yeah.
Mine's a little bit more new. This one's this year actually. It's a Datejust, so it's a 41, but it's also got the factory diamond face on it.
Right.
And then it's the slate dial, fluted, all the bells and whistles and
that rodeo
thing. So yep. And for me, kind of one of those things where we were talking about earlier. It's like everybody, when they're starting to kind of make it, they want to get themselves a Rolex to like signify that they're here, they've made it, and this is kind of what this piece represents for me. Unless you want to take a look at it.
Oh, this is killer. What's the factory diamonds in?
Factory diamonds, yep.
Dude, I love the fluted bezel on this.
Yep, me too.
I feel like if you have one of these, it has to have a fluted
100%.
because they almost look like diamonds.
Yep.
They dance.
They dance and
Let's see the rhodium.
yep.
The plain steel ones don't.
Oh, this is rhodium.
Looks like that's rhodium.
Yeah, because of the dial or the bezel and everything. It's just so clean and goes together really well in my opinion.
So it makes it so sparkly.
Yep.
You wear this on your bike when you're going
No,
50 miles an
I
hour?
don't wear it on the bike. I keep it bundled up.
Speed readings.
It might.
That's really sharp.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So it's cool too because it's on Jubilee, but it's white gold as well. So around here is all white gold, and then it's steel on the outside of the bands there.
Right.
But yeah, it's a nice, clean, elegant dress watch. I can kind of.
The cool thing about these watches, I mean, this is a sport watch, obviously, and so is that one. But even though that one's a dress watch, it looks fine, and it's casual wear.
Yeah.
You can wear it with jeans and a t-shirt.
Exactly. Well, and it's funny too because I'm not normally a fan of like super flashy diamond, that kind of thing. But like for me, when I saw it and I saw the diamonds in person, I was like, you know what? Like it's enough to not be an asshole,
Right.
And like it looks good enough to where it's not too flashy, you know. And just like you said with the fluted, it kind of adds like that level of pop, And so it's but it's funny because I'll wear this one. But I also have a Hublot Aerofusion titanium skeleton, and I get the most compliments wearing that watch as I do. And don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful watch. It's just it like out of any other piece that I've ever worn, that one's the one that just gets the most pop and attention because of like, what is that thing? You know?
Those are cool looking.
They're definitely pretty sweet.
That's one of my favorite watches. I love that design. You were talking about that, weren't you?
I like the
With the carbon,
I like the Big Bang.
yeah.
big.
Yeah, with the carbon dial.
Did you
Send me a couple options.
Did you get my email?
Yeah, I've been pondering it. I haven't responded yet because I take a while to make a decision like that.
Yep.
No worries.
Those things are sweet.
What else do you have? You've got a Yachtmaster, you said, right?
Yeah, I have a gold Yachtmaster 1 with a white dial.
But it's all gold, though.
All gold.
Right.
Yeah, but I feel a little funky wearing that one here. It's very, to me, it seems like a very, even my dad said this, it's a very kind of a nautical, like,
Yep.
Well, yeah.
boater's watch.
Right.
When I wear, I'm very casual here. You know, I'm in a stained up jeans and a t-shirt every day. And I feel like it's just so out of place with a gold Rolex on here.
Yep.
Yeah, the gold's a little over top especially around your workers and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
These you can dress down, which is nice.
Yep.
They look fine. Nobody cares. It's like whatever.
yeah, like this. So I gotta have. I just got another one. It's the Chopard, the Millia.
Miglia.
Yep.
Millia. Yeah, I
things are
have trouble
beautiful.
saying it. It's so cool. I love the van because it's a tire print going around.
Right.
And
And a little watch.
it's a little big for work, like, because I take a lot of my jewelry off during the day when I'm working because, God forbid, I'm moving really fast, I'm touching cars,
something.
slides down the side of the Ferrari. It's that's a pretty big watch with a bunch of stuff sticking off.
Yeah, I had one. I had the Gran Turismo. No, the Grand Prix. It's called the Grand Prix Historique. That one by Chopard, and it's the one that was made in honor of the. So there's a historic race in Monaco. So it's the Monaco model, and it's
So before there's the same weekend as the F1 race,
Yep.
they have the classic car race, the historic car race. So they bring out all these things from back, like when F1 was brand new.
Mm-hmm.
all the way through like 20 years ago, like
Yep.
the old F1 car from 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got all these cars racing on the Monaco track. Well, racing, and they don't go very fast. You know, the track's so windy and stuff.
Yep.
Everything. But it's kind of like a parade, you know, and they're going around doing whatever. And I don't even know all the details of the race, but I know that they're racing against each other. They have like different categories. So if you're this year to this year, then you'll race against those guys, and then this year, then that. So pretty cool idea. So I had a mint condition one of those, and same thing. It's all about the racing.
Yep.
You know, that was the whole theme of that watch. So
Absolutely.
It had like a gas gauge on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
That was totally cool. I can get another one if I want. So, all right. Well, before we end, I want to know something from you guys. You tell anybody who's watching this thing, what
What could you tell anybody about, and drawing from your own experience and in business, what do you think advice you could give them to be successful? What would you say that you must do to have any hope of being successful? And I'll go with you first.
That is a loaded question.
That is absolutely.
I'm probably just like you. My brain flips through the Rolodex of things that
Pick
help,
one thing
that help
that you
drive
could tell them.
success. I love the saying of just show up.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get invited to a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
and your people, you know, what's that saying? Your network
Is
is
your
your network,
exactly
right? And you don't build your network unless you say yes to things and go to them.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't show up to Supercar Week when I got invited, we would have never met.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't show up to Coach Will when he told me to come to this gym, I wouldn't have gone to the gym.
Absolutely.
Just showing up. That's how you meet people. That's how you expand your network.
Right.
And people start to know you
Absolutely.
and get your name out there.
You gotta get out there.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll miss an opportunity.
100%.
I definitely relate to that and agree to that. For me too, it's going to be a little bit piggybacking on what you said a little bit earlier. I wasn't as good of a student either, and so I learned at an early age that it's not the grades you make, it's the hands you shake. And piggybacking on what you said, I think it's very important to not only show up, but to, you know, put yourself out there and meet those people and build your network, because that's really, at the end of the day, what's going to not only provide your business to scale, but, you know, a lot of people at the end of the day aren't going to remember you for what you did. They're going to remember you for how you treated them. And I think if you can provide a service that people are always going to be able to remember you for, then that is going to be something that's going to set you apart from anybody else. Just like you, when you're, you know, unveiling their car and you have, you know, this fly up and you got the music going and the lights, you know, that provides an experience that they've never been able to have before from somebody else. And so they'll remember that. Right. And that is going to be like stuck in their head, and they're like, dude, you got to go to Rocky. You know, he's going to get you geared up and you know, he's going to give you all the bells and whistles and give you everything that you need and, you know, get you set up. And you know, that to me is important from a business perspective, because, you know, you want to provide them with the service that, you know, they can't just get from anybody else.
Right.
So
Right.
that's
100%.
what I would
I agree.
say.
I agree.
I want to know yours too.
Yeah.
Well, the showing up thing is right. That's one part of it. The other thing is follow through.
Follow through.
You got, if you can't just talk the talk, you got to walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
And if you tell somebody you're gonna do something, you better do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you better do it. Me personally, that's my personal thing. It's like, if I tell somebody, I'm confident I can do the job, and I'm going to show you, you know. But I learned that because I saw plenty of people talk and then they couldn't do it, and then, you know, you got unhappy people. So I think that's the one thing, is always do what you say you're going to do. Don't make someone a promise and then not do it. That's the number one thing. And then and then work for the wow factor.
Yep.
Wow them. So when they walk out, they're going, wow, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's my take. And, you know, the time that I've spent here with you guys, I've gotten to know, you know, you and I knew each other quite a bit before.
Yep.
And you and I are recently new to each other, but I think I've learned so much more about you, your personalities, your upbringing, everything. I have a better sense of who you are now. So for me in business, when it comes to being out there in the world and wanting to refer someone to you, it really comes down to how comfortable am I with that, because my reputation is going to go right along with that referral.
100%.
If you screw up, either one of you, I'm dead too.
Yep.
Okay, so they'll never talk to me either. So that's that. Guys, I want to thank you for coming in and doing this today. This has been awesome. This isn't the last time we're going to get together and do this. We'll do this again for sure in the future. So I'm looking forward to more of this, and also kind of keeping our relationship going and making stuff happen. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Rocky, he's awesome.
Great, Rocky.
This episode of Alphas and Outliers is brought to you by Rocky's Ultimate Garage and Northbridge Fitness Center, both located in West Palm Beach.